This is not where today's video takes place, but I wanted to showcase. There were tracks in the middle of the parking lot. They were not used. I don't know why they were there, what purpose they were there for a long time ago, but they're gone. They repaved it. I think it was to that building. Probably industrial, maybe? I don't know. But they're gone. And welcome to Canton Junction. As far as YouTube is concerned, my second time here actually. My first time here on YouTube was, I think, a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. Came here, took Providence to Providence Station, and went to Providence Place Mall for Dave & Buster's. That video is somewhere on the channel. Lots of rust. One of my favorite stations, actually, because of that cafe, Copper City Cafe, I think is what it's called, but I'm not sure. So the reason why we're here today is, yeah, steps in. But it is Amtrak's, not birthday, I missed that, birth month. And I thought this would be better to do it here, because we can maybe see an Amtrak train go by. Versus Route 128, where it just stops. And we are high up. In case you're wondering what the jiggling sound is, there's also another thing special about Canton Junction. The 716 will deviate some trips here. Let's see what we want. Live wire. You know you're on the northeast corridor. So the bonus segment for today's video will be taking the 716 from Canton Junction to Cobb's Corner. And around we go. And I should have put the tripod on to prevent all the jiggling for the camera. Puddle. And now we are on the Northeast Corridor. Probably... I just knocked over my drink. It's probably the best spot since there's shade. Perfect timing. Amtrak. At least it looks like Amtrak.
Train approaching. Please remain behind yellow line.
That was my first time seeing it up close. You have no idea how much that shocked me. Okay. It's different experience in person compared to online on YouTube videos. I'm surprised the cane did not go flying. Okay. Right, now the tripod is on. And I believe Providence is coming soon. We will not be taking that anywhere. So the point for this was to, well, one, say happy birthday to Amtrak. Or birth month. Hey, at least I'm in the month. I'm late, but I'm not that late. Surprising for this channel. And sort of go over my history with them and showcase what I got for their birthday. So my history, it's actually kind of hot out, but hopefully you don't see so much sweat. It's really hot out today. Not used to it yet. So I guess my history of Amtrak started when I was ultimately younger, when PBS had Thomas and Friends, and the Gentleman Excellers were new. So I would watch Thomas, get the making tracks to great destinations, and then the Amtrak ad would show up with the Gentleman Excellers, which is odd. British train, American train. Oh, British locomotive. So that was my first instance of Amtrak in a way. And then years upon years later, when I had disposable income, for their 50th birthday, I took Amtrak Northeast Regional from South Station to Back Bay. And then same thing, Christmas present to myself was the Acela from South Station to Back Bay. Was it the best choice of money? Probably not. It was actually pretty bad. Still haven't gone over the whole recording in public type of deal. So, chronologically, Thomas. Like I said, still haven't gotten used to this whole recording in public type of deal. So chronologically, it goes Thomas and Friends, 50th birthday, for taking the Excella and the Northeast Regional. And I believe at the time, I discovered the store was a thing online. So that's where this hat came from. Sometime after that, I will not state the names, partly because I can't remember them. Like, that's a lie. I won't state the names for their safety, their employment. But a neighbor who worked for Amtrak gave me a lanyard, because I was wearing this hat at the time to take out the garbage. This is my quick, I'm gonna miss the bus type of deal kind of hat. I have many hats. So this is my, I need to get out of the house right now type of deal. Or I'm taking out the trash real quick. So I wore this, the neighbor gave me a lanyard. And unfortunately, it's one of those retractable lanyards for employee IDs. That broke, unfortunately. But I still have it, actually, because it's the thing around the neck still works. The retractable part broke, unfortunately. So it's more of a decoration at this point. And then, sometime after that, again, I remember his name. I just won't state who or where for his job safety and my job safety. But I was working, and a Amtrak employee wore his company jacket. I said hi, and he gave me something a week later. So that brings us to today, where it's Amtrak's 50th birthday. Or 55th birthday, my mistake. For the 50th, I took the XL and the regional. For the 55th, I did buy something on the website. So, 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday. So, the Amtrak stores, the Amtrak website sells quite a few things. How to do this? Hold still for the thumbnail. Hopefully the auto recognition took that. Let me get him back in the bag. So yeah, I got that. And some other things. Hard to do one-handed. And before I do anything, there's a train coming. Hopefully this won't be as much of a shock to me. There's the light. That should be commuter rail, so it's not going to be as intense.
Train approaching. Please remain behind yellow line.
Definitely not as intense as Amtrak. So the other things I got. So the Amtrak employee at my workplace gave me one of these. I didn't know they had these on the store online. So he gave me one, and I got one for myself. So his I'll be keeping. The one that he gave me, that in the lanyard I'm keeping because that's special. The employees gave that to me because I'm a train fan, real nut. And they also got Northeast Region. So why did I buy two? Because I have a habit of losing these. Years ago when I was younger, I had a Yu-Gi-Oh pin on my hat, and that disappeared. That just fell off. I guess this just came loose or something. I don't know. So, the Amtrak lanyard and the pin the two separate employees gave me, those are on a shelf for sentimental reasons. One Northeast Regional pin I will use, one I will keep. I'll put it with the others or something. I'll leave a link to the Amtrak store in the description. So that's that. So where do I think Amtrak goes in the next, let's say, 5 years? This is secondhand information just by watching YouTube videos. But the state of Massachusetts is actively working on getting service from Boston to Springfield and then going south to New Haven, Connecticut. I believe it's called Compass Rail. And the goal is to ultimately get more service. Because if you look at miles in transit, trip to Chicago on the Lakeshore Limited, and I believe there was another one, I can't remember. But there were lots of people clearly getting off at Springfield or Pittsfield using Lakeshore Limited. So we clearly need the service. So the state clearly wants to get that going. The problem being is that Amtrak is having equipment shortages, as is the T. So the goal is to get the tracks up and running, add a third track on the Framingham-Worcester line. Get that going. Upgrade the tracks in the Springfield area or anywhere west of Worcester. And I believe Amtrak will run it. It's supposed to start in the year 2030. That's the goal. Do I think Amtrak will do it? Yes. Do I want it? Yes. But they're also replacing Amfleet coaches with the Aero trains. coming from the south. That's either a northbound Amtrak or a northbound commuter rail. Amtrak. Nope, commuter rail. Something I completely forgot to mention in this whole thing was that when the next gen Acela launched, me and friend of the channel, Transit Adventures of Steven, were talking. We both wanted to get on the first one. He couldn't because he just waited too long and couldn't afford the $200 to go from South Station to Providence. In my case, I could not make it there in time. I think the first northbound Fall River and the first northbound Stoughton would get there like 7:35, and the first next gen Acela leaving South Station was 7:30. So I just could not make it. So, very long ramble, train of thought. Chronologically, my time with Amtrak was Thomas and Friends, PBS, the lanyard, the hat, the 2 rides from Boston to South Station, from South Station to Back Bay. The pin from the employee, the plush, and the pins. So, thought about Amtrak and where they're going in the future. I do think they will do the Compass Rail, I believe that's what it's called. Boston to Springfield, south down to New Haven, Connecticut. I do think it's needed. I do think it will get service. I don't know if it's such a good idea in terms of Amtrak has an equipment shortage. The Amfleets are well beyond their useful life. They are replacing them with the Aero train sets. The first one is in testing on the Cascades route. It might even be testing here. I don't know, because they do want to bring them here. In terms of the pricing, that's the concerning part. So, I do think Amtrak has a bright future ahead of them. I think they are good. My concern with Amtrak, especially learning about the New Haven route, or not New Haven, the Hartford line. Why is how come the Hartford line takes both CT Rail and Amtrak tickets, but the Northeast Regional doesn't take commuter rail tickets from, say, Boston South Station to Providence Station? That's a legitimate question, by the way. I'm curious if it's just not enough room, despite it being a short distance. I'm curious. So, I do think Amtrak has a bright future, and I did want to get on the first trip, Next Gen Acela, the Avelia Liberty. But between time and me being south of Boston, so far away, and the $200 price tag, I couldn't. So that's one of the reasons why I took such a short trip from South Station to Back Bay. It was only $5. And I don't like booking in advance because you never know what could happen. I saw a day of travel, Amtrak from South Station to Route 128 as an example. It'd be about $20. South Station to Back Bay, $5. Book in advance about a week, 2 weeks. It could be as little as $5 for either one. I do think Amtrak needs to work on their pricing structure. But that's really my only critique with them. Despite the fact that I never really took a real trip with them. I do wish, knowing that the Hartford line is a thing, they accepted commuter rail tickets and presumably my blind access card from South Station to Providence. That would be nice. Do I think it will happen? No, because it's one of the premier routes. It's one of the few routes that actually make money, to my knowledge. But I'm not sure about that. And I do think they will do the Compass Rail. I would like to get the first ride on that. It's also 4 years away, so we'll see what happens. I do think it's needed. I do think it will come. I am very excited for that because we do need an easy connection from Eastern Mass to Western Mass. And hopefully that will extend out to Pittsfield, I think, is what I'm looking for. Because the thought of going from South Station to Pittsfield, or at the very least Springfield, that's amazing. We do need that. I do want that. And the thought of it happening getting more than just one trip a day with the Lakeshore Limited, that'd be extremely helpful. And I think that's it. That's all I have to say. Compass Rail will come. I think they will do it. I hope they do it. I think we will use the Aero train sets for that because that's 4 years away. And they do got to replace the AM fleets, unfortunately, and the superliners for the long distance trains. Those gotta be replaced. I know those are historic. I would love to ride them, but they are also not very ADA compliant, and they are actively looking for replacements, for designs for replacing them, which is both it's a bittersweet type of deal. So they got a bright future. Who knows? They might even take over Brightline, from what I can tell. So yeah. Happy 55th birthday, Amtrak. This video is already 30 minutes long, so the bonus segment of the Canton Junction 716 route down to Cobb's Corner. That's going to be a separate video. So to recap the whole thing, my experience with Amtrak was Thomas and Friends, the 50th hat, Northeast Regional XL, the lanyard, the pin, and then fast forward to the 55th, the plush, and the pins. Showcase them one more time. Yeah. Happy 55th birthday, Amtrak. If another one is coming soon, you'll see it. If not, that's the end of this video. Sorry for rambling so much, I guess. Let me know if you guys like the rambling, those long conversations. I know one of you do. Hello, Eric. Alright, I said I was done with that video. But much like all my other videos, I have a tendency to lie in that regard. The Canton Junction bus will be a separate video. But you can track your trains on the Amtrak website. I guess this is good for rail fans too. So there's a Acela at Route 128. So it should be in a few minutes. So the bonus segment, or the ending segment for this video, will be seeing the Acela go by. This is where my tongue stops working. The Acela will be the ending segment for this video, and then the Canton Junction bus will be a separate video for those that are interested in MBTA content. The Acela is still at Route 128, at least according to the tracker. Yeah, it's pretty northbound still, or inbound. So the tracker says it's still at Route 128, and it's not supposed to leave that station until 11:41, and it is. (11:36), but I also don't want to miss the 716. So I want to at least get on that side. Get on that side. Okay, so the tracker is broken. And even back here, it's still, wow. So why was it still at Route 128? According to the tracker. Either I did something wrong or the tracker is broken. But that's it for the Amtrak birthday celebration video. On to the MBTA 716.